With you. So there's a typhoon, and that's there for you. Had a busy day.
Yeah, they basically like a couple of our customers who are ramping us up to take over their volume. The typhoon meant that they more or less were like, screw it, these calls aren't going to get answered anyways. Let's just send 100% of the volume to Bland.
Nice.
And we're doing really well, but when you hit that scale so quickly, all of a sudden there's like issues that pop up that we had no idea existed in terms of like customers saying weird things, the AI saying weird things. And so it's basically just nonstop firefighting all day.
Nice. Well, not nice. Dude, I feel what you guys sort of. I feel your pain, I guess, because we're using Blend as well, and we see some stuff happening here and there. But I can only imagine what happens if you do this at full scale, and then sort of comes from every nook and cranny, however you say that. So you're probably being swamped. So I appreciate you guys still jumping on. Really appreciate it. I sort of what I would love to do, sort of in the next 30 minutes or so, I just want to sort of geek out with you on Blend, about you guys, how you got here, where you are now, what's going on, sort of how is AI going to save the world, or is it going to sort of bring us to the apocalypse or whatever? So all that, it's going to be sort of, I expect a few people to join, to come in with a few questions. If not, all good. Everything is being sort of recorded and being shared in the group, Digital Growth Collective, where with about 140, 150 agency owners all over the world, Australia, UK, US, sort of, and everywhere in between. So if it's good with you guys, if you're ready for it, you want to kick it off? You get to kick it off?
Do you mind if I
Yeah.
grab some water really quickly?
Please do.
Awesome.
Um, while he's doing that, do you want me to start or do you want me to wait for him to get back? All
No, well, no, we'll kick it off. We'll kick it off.
right,
No,
perfect.
we'll look at him in his shorts. Look, he's got pants on. He didn't. I don't
I know
think.
he didn't come ready to work. Well, yeah, Rucker, I mean, you know who I am, but I'm
I know.
Isaiah. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Bland. Um, I think like there's a lot of ways to talk about what Bland does and what Bland is, but the simplest is that we're a voice AI platform that lets you build end-to-end solutions that are enterprise oriented. What that means is reliable, observable, hyperstable, analytics, security focused, all of those pieces that you kind of need to have real trust on an enterprise scale. We try to deliver. We became Bland a little over a year ago now. We were a health tech company before that. There's a whole other story how he ended up actually becoming Bland. And a lot of what we think about today is actually not about AI, but about humans. And particularly like what has happened over the last like 50 years is that every technology that was supposed to deliver better experiences is littered with broken promises. IVR, that was supposed to be a game changer for better customer experiences. Some of these websites that people have built were supposed to be like, oh, this is going to be the easiest thing, or mobile apps. And what we see happening with AI is like this is a magnitude shift in how you can deliver personalization. And what we think about is like, how does Bland focus on building technology that's going to actually follow through on that vision of excellent experiences? And how do we teach the world that with AI, you can demand that every time that you interact with a business, it's excellent? And what does that mean for our business? And how do we shape what we give to our customers so that they can help their customers?
And how's that going?
Every day is a challenge. When GPT 3.5 dropped, I think everyone was like, oh, we've got like 6 months until AGI. We're still
Exactly.
here.
We're still here. We're still here. And the reason why I'm asking, dude, so let me just, it's sort of, I love it. I love the mission. I love the vision. I love you guys. So just full disclosure, I am a bit of a fanboy, positive critic as well. I think I stumbled upon you guys, which sort of in the end, sort of when I just went through the door and I met you guys, I stumbled upon Blend. I mean, I think about sort of 6 or 7 months ago, so let's say 6 months ago, while searching for an AI sort of voice solution to take over inbound calls that we're getting. We, I'll spare you all the details, but we were on calls with sort of five, six, maybe seven solutions, and they all failed. Whether they failed in sort of how the actual humans interacted with us, or they didn't even sort of schedule a demo, or the demo was scheduled and they didn't even follow through. They weren't there, or then when we got the demo, it was like, fuck, is this really what you're asking for? Or they charged, I think, 100K up front before anything else. They want to sell us licenses. I'm not going to name any
Yeah,
names.
I know which one that
I'm not
is.
going to name any, I'm not going to say this is AI, but I'm not going to name any names there. But sort of that felt like sort of that felt horrible. And honestly, I think we sort of paused it after that call, after those 3 calls with them. Like, fuck, this is not going to happen. Then I stumbled upon you guys. And that was, and I said this before, I'm going to say it again for the record, on the record, it was sort of a breath of fresh air. You guys, young, intelligent, easy to go with, just normal guys and girls. I'm not sure if there are any girls, but even whatever, just fun guy, one girl, just easy to work with. And that has brought us a lot of success already with all the ups and downs on the platform. It's not only a platform, it's also sort of the ups and downs with sort of working with sort of a large language model and a model that you guys have. So that's where my question came from, and how's that going? Because it's ups and downs, but overall it's awesome, and I love what you guys built, and I do think the world needs to know that you guys are here and ride the wave. So
Yeah.
yeah, just wanted to
You're
get
too
that out of the
nice.
way.
You're
No,
too nice.
it's not about being too nice. I mean, because I can sort of, we can sit here and talk about all the stuff, not all the stuff, but some stuff that goes wrong, but it's more important how things are being handled. And
Yeah.
that's just really important. So, okay, let's get that out of the way. Yes, I'm a fanboy, whatever. I mean, anyway, I just love you guys, and I think you do really good work, and we are seeing a lot of success with your platform. So
Yeah.
stop.
Uh,
Now, sorry, Isaiah, we know now you are Simon with shorts. Um, tell us, tell us a little tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah. So I'm Simon. I'm one of the founding engineers at Bland. So I joined Bland shortly before we started raising our Series A. Um, Kind of a ridiculous story about how I ended up joining Bland. It was building a product on top of it, trying to help people find medications that weren't like in pharmacies. Essentially, there was a huge shortage of specific medications in the United States. I was trying to use Blend to call these pharmacies and see if they had them in stock, since that was the only way to find them. And started building on Bland, or I tried to build it myself first. Realized that it was really hard to build good AI phone agents. And then I started building on Bland, caught a small bug, sent it to, I believe it was Roger, who's another one of our beautiful engineers. And then, yeah, one thing led to another, and now I'm
Are you
working
here?
here.
I love it. I love it. So Simon, you were the one, sort of, you were sort of the one who onboarded us on Blend, and I think you are part of sort of the success party of it. Well, anyway, that all said, so I mean, the word enterprise, the term enterprise, sort of dropped a few times. Sorry, would you mention that sort of you want to deliver enterprise sort of service and enterprise stability, etc.? Does that actually mean you Blend is only available for enterprise level clients?
no, we have about 45,000 self-serve users who just sign up and use the platform. It was really big for us from day one that like anybody could just try it out. Uh, you mentioned another platform, which I won't talk about, but like when you're in the market dealing with somebody who is deceptive, particularly around new technology, it's one of those things where at first it's very frustrating, but it's actually pushed us to be so much more open, so much more
Mhm.
honest, and so much better. Um, and like that's actually been really great for us because we've learned like we always just try to give users the power and like whenever we say we have something, just put it out there and let people try it and don't do these long demo cycles or broken promises.
Oh,
It should be out there for the world to try.
look, create an account, go play with it. We'll get to the pathways in a bit. I'll tell you a little bit more why I'm so excited about the pathways. But before we get there, what are the core sort of, if you look at sort of the near future, let's say the next 6 to 12 months, what are sort of um, the core strategies, the core features that you guys are going to focus on?
Simon, do you want to take that or do you want me to take that?
I don't know if I have the roadmap as nailed down as you do. I think you have a better idea.
I mean, the real features we're looking at right now is using machine learning to do things like interruptions, making them much smoother, using machine learning to do things like backchanneling, which is like when you say uh-huh, mm-hmm, or like try and interrupt somebody. We have simulations coming, which will allow you to run thousands of tests and see the long tail of how an AI will perform. We have really cool tech coming, but like what I bring it back to is when you're trying to think about who you're going to use or why you should even use us, what we're actually just focused on is most AI phone calls sound horrible. And our goal is to make them sound really pleasant. And that means from the customer's perspective, not from our perspective, not from the business's perspective, but like, did your customers, or did our customers enjoy talking to the AI? And like what that has manifested as is focused on delivering better prompting tools, making it less easy for people to mess up their own phone calls, being really opinionated. And so like everything that we're building right now is about like understanding the real world is really messy. AI is very messy. And like how do you turn that messiness into more often than not somebody's actually liking talking to AI?
So here's something that I'm running into is what I actually see happening is it's really easy to set up these agents with Blend. Great, super easy. People call in, you prompt, you do whatever. I mean, my mother potentially could do it. But here's the thing that I didn't expect to happen is it seems that when I go through the transcripts and the logs and whatnot, and mostly the transcripts and listen to the calls, it looks like that people sort of they understand that they actually are interacting with a non-human, not with a human, with a bot. Let's simply call the bot, or a lot of people now have sort of the term AI in their head. And the answers they answer in sort of very binary. It's yes, no, yes, no. It's just like sort of an upskilled IVR. What's your take on that? Because sorry, yeah, what's your take on that?
I hate that. I
Yeah.
hate that so much. I always, I mean, Simon's probably sick of me saying this by now, but like I hammer it in that's like we are not an upscaled IVR. Like that is not the promise of AI. And that is what a lot of people are pushing it to because you will get green lights and green check marks because if you send enough phone calls, you're going to do what you need to do, or if people call in, the IVR will work. Like it's not about that. It's about being willing to do the hard thing, which is like it is really hard to make an excellent experience and to teach a computer how to handle the messinesses of the real world. And like that's what we're thinking about.
And how are we going to solve that? How are we going to? Is it a problem that the platforms like Blend should solve, or is it also something that we as humans need to start learning and understanding and accepting that we can have intelligent conversations with an AI, with a bot?
I think it's both. It's like there's a lot of product decisions that you have to make in order to make like what I've noticed first off is that it's like it is possible to make these agents that are really dynamic and work really well. And we have like a ton of customers who, you see these people call in and they're interacting with Bland as if it was a person. They're asking side questions. Even after they're saying, "Oh, are you an AI agent?" and they say yes, like they're asking side questions, they're saying pleasantries, etc. So there's the like desire for people to interact with an agent that isn't like an IVR is there, and it's possible to build it. It just takes a lot of effort. Like one of the ones that I'm thinking of, like Isaiah, what you've spent like 40, 50 plus hours on, a customer getting them live. And I think like in order to deliver that experience, like putting in the time to make that possible is really difficult. And what we're doing and really focusing on, at least I'm focusing on, is making the product experience easier to get to that point to where, and what that means is like testing, right? Like being able to test a myriad of different test cases. Easier. I mean, honestly, testing is probably the biggest one, but predicting, what your customers are going to say when you patch in, having like correct rollouts for when you want to go live. Like these are all things that we as Bland are responsible for providing users like you the tools. And so it's that's like kind of been one of our biggest focuses is how do we get you to get from, oh, I have this upgraded IVR to I have like an AI agent that a person prefers talking to instead of an IVR, or even in honestly, in some cases that we're seeing real people, which is really, really cool.
No, don't get me wrong, I love it, and you know this. But here's the other thing that I'm also running into, and I'm trying to trying to give people also ammunition to how to handle sort of objections that they get from clients when they sort of introduce a solution like Blend. And one of the things that I've been hearing as well is it just it feels slow. It doesn't feel like a smooth conversation. And
Right.
that's more often of the sort of the minor delays that the bot needs, the AI needs, the model, the agent, whatever, to actually respond. Do you think that that is something that's going to be solved anytime soon?
I think that I
No,
mean,
I don't think it will be. Well, Simon, I want to hear your opinion.
yeah, I think like when you're thinking about like, oh, a smooth conversation, right? Like latency is going to be one of those. And you can chunk it latency over and over again. I mean, I remember, Isaiah, I don't know if you remember this a few weeks ago. One of our engineers pushed a change where like the latency was like it was literally like that. And the issue that we came up with is like our bot is too fast. Like, there's a lot of things that go into making a conversation really, really good that isn't just latency. For example, like figuring out when you should actually respond, like that turn taking, like that's a whole problem in itself. And I think like if you're able to get an agent, and we've done it, right? If you're able to get an agent down to a certain speed of response, that doesn't mean that the conversation is going to be automatically sound more like a person. There's just so many more variables that go into making a conversation sound great. And I think more importantly too is that like at least for right now, the interest that we're getting like people want their calls to sound like humans, but then when they go live, like customers like it's kind of this weird like middle ground. Like people like talking to AI, which is a little it's a little obscure. So I don't know if like the obviously, in an ideal scenario, you want to perfectly mimic a human, and we're definitely getting there, right? Um, but for now, I mean, so many people and a lot of our customers are just so ecstatic about
It
talking to
is, and it
and
is, but there's always those people that are out there sort of that like, it's just not, it's not real, and it's all that. I
yeah,
say just ignore those people and focus on your clients that are actually sort of that are willing to play on the frontier with you and have a little bit sort of a broader, what's it called, a broader vision of what's actually happening and what's possible. Because
right.
again, we see huge success with sort of the use cases that we are rolling out. But again, it's just something that I'm running into and that I see sort of people in. Was curious what your thoughts were about that. So when we're talking about sort of building bots, and you got how many people, how many self-serving clients do you guys have now? Give or take
45.
45,000. Sort of based on sort of what you see these people doing, what are sort of the most interesting use cases that people are building agents for?
That's a
That's a really good question. Simon, you may actually have some better visibility than me. The hurricanes that happened a few weeks ago in the US, somebody built a bot that anybody could call and ask for supplies to be delivered to them. I think they ended up getting like 3 or 4 truckloads of supplies out to people and that were affected by the hurricanes. Um, I don't know. I've seen some really weird ones. I've seen one that we were very iffy on if we were going to support was using Bland to call employees to make sure that they were actually working during the day while they were remote. I was serious, and they were going to ask like a math question or something. If the math didn't work out, or like they heard Netflix in the background, like there was a whole other. I'm very happy that we didn't have to have that question with that business, but that was one of the weirder ones I've seen. What about you, Simon?
Yeah, I think the really cool one that I've been seeing, and these are I've been providing a ton of support to these guys. They're great. They are essentially building agents for restaurants to take inbound phone calls for orders. Um, and it's like I really love like I think that's one of those use cases where it's so perfect, right? Like you throw their menu in like some knowledge base and you do delivery, you do address collection, pick up delivery, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And it's like, it's the perfect use case. I think that's one of those where people are like, I don't know, you could expect that, but to actually hear it it's like magical, honestly. It's really magical.
If I sort of change the question a little bit, in your guys' opinion, when should a business at least consider building AI voice agents? What's sort of the minimum classification? Not classification, not the right word, but what's the minimum threshold of, let's say, inbound calls? We're doing a lot of inbound, but or if you do outbound calls, or obviously when you have call centers, when you're currently sort of outsourcing calls to call centers, then definitely yes. That's a super obvious scenario. But what are sort of the less obvious scenarios that you've seen?
Again, Simon, I'm actually going to defer to you on this because you spend so much time with a lot of the self-serve users that I feel like you might have better visibility.
Yeah, I think that there's definitely like, at least for the way that voice AI agents are positioned in the market right now, there's definitely like an opportunity cost for using them. If that's kind of what you're alluding to, where it's like there are some customers that, you like, for example, right? What I would say is if you're not technical and you don't have anyone that's technical on your team, you probably shouldn't be building voice AI agents, right? And so like if you're not at the scale of having a technical person that can help you implement, then again, you probably should not be building AI agents. Um, and so like I think that like at its current state, that's what it is now. And like one of the things that we are really focused on at Bland is making sure that that is not the case. Like we really want people to not to be able to build AI phone agents that are technical. And like that's why you'll see things like pathway generation, right?
Exactly.
Generation is like
Yeah,
right.
I think
And
it's brilliant.
pathways in general, I know we're going to talk about it a bit more later, but like the UI of being able to create conversations via a diagram is what makes this stuff so like intuitive for people. And so that's kind of where we really want to push people who don't know how to code or don't know how to prompt to be able to do this. But in
Yeah.
its current state right now, like I do think you need to be technical. So yeah.
I argue with that. I want to argue with that because I don't think you have to be technical. I think when I saw your pathways, when I saw pathways in Blend, it was like sort of fuck yes, this. I know it because I've been working with sort of similar sort of UIs for the last 5 or 6 years, building
Right.
sort of messenger bots and whatnot, and sort of more automations on chat channels. So for me, it was super intuitive, but based on my experience with building sort of using pathways and sort of getting that mindset, everybody can do that. Everybody can, if you put your mind to it and you spend a little bit of time getting sort of again getting your head around it, you are able to build a fairly simple pathway within, in this case, Blend, to build an agent. I don't think you have to be technical for it. If you're going to do all kinds of fancy stuff on top of it, sure, it helps
Right.
a
Yeah.
little bit technical.
That's that. I think that's. I want to clarify. Like, you
Yeah,
can hit generate pathway, and it will generate a beautiful phone conversation that
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
works really well, right? But the really hard part is like extracting actual value from it. Like, you want to like, what good is a appointment scheduling pathway if you're not actually scheduling an appointment, right? So yeah.
No, fair enough. Okay, fair enough. What I sort of see and where what I would sort of want to advise people is, even if you do not do a bunch of inbound calls, or if you don't have your phone number on your website because you prefer email, think about it sort of as proactive customer support, especially let's say in e-commerce. I mean, having an ability to have a user send you a message on chat, whether it's WhatsApp or Messenger or just web chat or whatnot, that's great. That should be sort of standard operating procedure for any e-com business, full stop. But there's also a lot of people that just want to give you a quick call. And I can
Right.
understand that sort of as a business owner, you don't want to sort of outsource all those calls, so you're not servicing that. I do think that sort of a fairly simple flow with Blend, built on Blend, using pathways in Blend, could sort of solve that problem. You can have that up and running within half a day.
Right. I think there's there's like an area of people, like a certain age demographic. I mean, not age demographic. I think this is across everyone. Like when I call someone, like I just expect to reach a resolution faster. And I think like IVRs kind of like didn't really like deliver on that like premise where it's like, if you want something from like a website or a company or whatever, right? It's just so much easier. Or like let's say you're talking to your friend, right? You're trying to ask your friend for something. And you can go back and forth texting them, asking them something. You can get it in like three minutes if you just call them, right? And so I think people had the same expectations with phone agents, or sorry,
Mhm.
with calling on the phone for businesses. And now, like, IVRs kind of ruined that and made it a whole step process. It's like, why not just text it?
Yeah.
IVRs exist, right? And now that phone agents are coming, like, okay, this is actually, I can call a business and receive that, like, a way quicker ability to get, my issues solved than if I were to just text them or email support or whatever, right? So,
What's kind of funny is like most of the companies we work with, these big enterprises, will go in and they'll be like, okay, yeah, we want to get you set up. They go, we've done this work before with a couple of other AI phone companies, so we're pretty familiar. We're like, you've done what? Like with who? And we go in and we figure out what they're referring to is the IVR system.
Mm.
And then when you say AI phone call for these big enterprises, they don't understand the actual difference of what it means. Like one particular company who I can't name comes to mind that has a very bad customer experience, I believe, overall. And like we go in and they keep talking about their AI, their previous AI experiments. And we're like, this was not what you're not talking about the same thing. And when we showed them the demo, when we were selling to them, blew their minds. They had no idea that that was possible. And then we've had to do the same thing to everybody on their team because that's like how deep into the broken promise they are that this is like insane.
It is. So just moving towards pathways, who came up with the whole idea of pathways? Is
My
it was it
co-founder.
is it a is it was it an epiphany as in, or was it sort of what
was
I'm
it
trying
was it really Saban that came up with it? I had no, I thought it was
He came
Anu.
up with it, and I basically fought against it for like 3 months.
why?
I didn't understand what he was saying and how it would work. I was like, over my dead body, will we be building a company that's just a better IVR? And it wasn't until I made him like sit down and spend an hour explaining it to me that I finally like grasped what he was saying. But like, yeah, we could have had pathways about 3 months sooner if I hadn't been so stubborn. But he was the one that came up with the idea. And then Anun, who was our second engineer, was the person that built and kind of maintains a lot of pathways.
Did you guys ever see the flow builders inside of ManyChat? Are you aware of ManyChat?
Yeah.
That's the platform I stumbled upon about 6 years ago, and then sort of rest is more or less history. I pivoted from media buying and building sort of a media buying agency into sort of building on top, building with their platform and building all kinds of stuff for clients. And then at some point, that flow builder, that was just when the Messenger API, Facebook opened up the Messenger API, and sort of these sort of Messenger bot building companies popped up, and they led the pack for a while. Flow Builder came in about, I don't know, 6 years ago, and again, from there on, the rest is history for them. And I think they set the standard on how sort of bots are being built and how bots
Right.
can be built for the public. Because Simon, what you said, now there is sort of a certain level of technical brain required, technical sort of expertise required to do stuff with these pathways or flow builders or whatever you want to call it. It's just so much more intuitive, and it opens up sort of to the public. And that's the reason why I found my new home is when I saw those pathways, because I've been working with exactly the same system for the last 5 or 6 years. So yeah, pathways are brilliant, and I do think that that needs to get out there. People need to see that because that's going to click 100%. That's going to click, and then marketers are going to jump on and they will understand how easy it is to build it.
Yeah. I think I think like it's really interesting to see how people have been using pathways. Obviously an SMS version of, you know, what we've built is a little bit different. And when you're designing like a pathways, like a workflow based architecture, diagram based architecture, um, it's a little bit different for like phone agents than it is for messaging, right? Because with messaging, there's like directed one-to-one turn taking, right? Where you're going, there's a customer response, there's user
Yeah,
response, right?
true, true.
With pathways, there's interruptions, there's webhooks that are sent in the middle. Um, all of these you want to be able to block the user from not being able to move on to a next node if they don't accomplish the task of that node. And so I think we didn't, I mean, I could be wrong, Isaiah, you definitely feel free to correct me, but I think when we built Pathways, we didn't really, have any inspiration from anyone because it's a completely different product. Like
Hmm.
you're building it around voice AI, you're not building it around text. So
Part of
Yeah.
the yeah,
Yeah, no, logic is different. 100% agree. 100%. I still think it opens it up to the public having this UI, and it makes it click for people. People understand how, literally, people can understand how to connect dots.
yeah.
And it's,
I
I
think
know it's not an
what's kind
idea.
of
No, no, I know it's more complex than that because I mean, not, I mean, whatever, it doesn't really matter. But I think it's just sort of a strategical, really great decision to go that way.
I
Um,
gotta tell some on that.
I don't know. Yeah, well, look, I might be biased, but it's just based on my experience. But I love it. It's really good. So, moving a little bit forward on that, are you guys going to do? Are you going to guys expand on web chat and chat maybe as well?
Without giving too much away, the short answer is yes. We don't want people to have a different experience on the phone and when they're texting. We have a lot of that rolling out slowly because we want to stay focused on voice. I think Simon undersold just how hard the difference is between voice and chat. Like anyone, it might not seem obvious at first, but once you even spend like 10 minutes working with Bland or like any voice platform, what you realize is just like, holy smokes, it is so difficult to account for all of the variables on voice. In chat, you just have one input, one output. And
True.
like, so nobody's gonna type background noise into their chat box.
Or they call in and they start talking to somebody else.
right.
I can sort of,
I, the calls that we hear, like last night, there was a 10-minute call I shared with the team that I saw while reviewing like some of our customers' calls. And like the things that people do and say are mind-boggling. And the way that they handle themselves on the phone is like, and we all do it, but when you hear it, you're like, oh my God, like how is
why?
this?
Yeah,
But,
why? I'm
it'll
wondering.
get to the point where like if you make an actual phone call, like I called my mom yesterday and I'm like, wow, so many interruptions would have occurred if I was like an AI phone agent. Like
It changes how you talk to people.
Do
Like
you
whenever
yeah.
I'm
think,
talking with, yeah.
do you think people act differently because they understand, they know it's an AI, it's a bot? I don't know. I don't have the answer to the question.
I think it's binary in general, where it's like if they think it's a bot, they start saying one words like phrases like yes,
Yeah,
no,
yeah, that, yeah,
support.
yeah.
If if they don't think it's a bot, they talk pretty much the same, or
Mhm.
like they're talking to a slightly slower human being.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I see exactly the same. I see exactly what you said. Just short answers, yes, no, and that's sort of the whole binary thing where it doesn't even. But just quickly go back. How awesome would it be? Because sort of going back to sort of web chat, are we then talking text as in SMS? And yeah, dude, that would be so awesome because how awesome would it be? Hey, maybe not a good time now. Let me send you text and we can go over on text or start on text. And hey, if you got further questions, if you want to sort of dive deeper, whatever, just give us a call on the exact same number as been texting on. That would be, I mean, how awesome would that be?
Well, one of my visions for like what I think the future will look like is you're gonna have a contact in your phone for every like business, and like you'll have a contact named Southwesty, who is the helpful Southwest Airlines like booker, and you'll text Southwesty, you'll call them, they'll know everything about you, and when you need something, it'll be the most personalized, most helpful possible advice you can get. And I think it just all comes back to this idea of like that does not happen unless we go and do the really hard stuff right now. And that it sucks and it's painful because we could drive more green lights, more revenue, less like failures if we didn't care about customer experience being excellent. But we've kind of chosen to go through this like horrible, painful period. And Rucker, I know you're very gracious, but you've seen some of those bumps and bruises where it's really hard to drive excellent experiences with full non-determinism. And we are figuring out how to do that truly because otherwise it's gonna be another IVR. It's gonna be a broken promise once again. And I think what's important is that people demand that like AI is not that because that's gonna suck if if that's like what it becomes.
No, yeah, bumps and bruises, yes. But what I said before, I mean, but that's part of the game. That's sort of we're playing on the frontier and we're learning. And I think we accelerate. We are already accelerating while we're learning. I'm not sure if that sort of makes sense. In my head, it makes perfect sense. But the thing is, how you guys are handling this and how you guys offer the support and how gracious you guys are in the community and all that. That's the reason why those 44,000 people are still there. And that's why you got all these bunch of enterprise clients that sort of allow you guys to actually sort of stay on this path of excellence. Excellence in terms of excellence in customer support, which keeps the people on board, even though the bumps and the bruises. Yeah,
Yeah,
and
I think
we also need to work with
what's our
clients. It's
motto?
also about client. I am in the lucky position that I have clients that are working with the client with that's
Right.
the client. They want to play on the frontier. They want to be on the forefront, and they understand that while being there, we're gonna get kicked in the butt, and we're gonna fall, and we're gonna fail, but we're also gonna have huge successes, and we're gonna have a big party, and everything sort of then evens out to be just a good success, full stop. So yeah, I would advise everybody just if you have those clients and have a little bit of a technical background or access to sort of technical people, jump in
Yeah.
and do it. Jump in and go for it. Just a quick question, and I know you guys maybe need to go, but a quick question is, do you really believe it, am I right when I say this is going to sort of, I know every day that goes by, sort of the versions are getting better. So yesterday was sort of the worst version you're ever going to get. But do you think that the people that are on the platform now and are building and are learning and sort of building up this skill set do have a competitive advantage over everybody else who's going to jump on when this becomes a commodity?
100%.
Yeah, 100%.
And why? Sorry, I'm just wondering why. Why I do believe that, but I also
Because,
want, sorry, the reason why I'm asking this, I want to sort of urge people to jump on and take that learning curve. Same thing that I'm doing now, and then what I did with ManyChat and Messenger sort of throughout the last 5 years, because it's going to pay off.
I
So
I
I
think what,
guess
yeah.
I think first off, like there Bland won't always be a company where I chat in Discord and give people free credits all the
No,
time. Like, we will go beyond that scale. So if you want to, have the ability to play with Bland for free, I would recommend starting to do that now. I think secondly, in these stages of the platform where we're going from something that is a little bit more technical to something that's available to people that are less technical. It gives you the opportunity for these power users to like get a better idea of how it works under the hood. If you put that, and also you're spending time with these people who are literally experts in our platform. Like, for example, I'm just gonna shout out one of our power users, Ming. He's built an entire business around building on top of Bland, a successful business, like a really successful business. And he's so great. Like he'll chat in Discord, he'll help people with their. I mean, he just sent me a screenshot like what I don't know, 30 minutes ago of him helping someone and him being like, "Oh my God, thank you so much. I can't believe this helped," like et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And like I think our community, because of, we're in the stages that we are right now, we're more like, we're always going to be, personal with customers, right? But we are at a state where like the people who are building this platform, like myself, Anun, Isaiah, et cetera, we're chatting with our self-serve customers every day. And then you have these beautiful like communities that are sprawling up of people who are helping each other. Like that only really happens at these really early stages,
Hmm.
right? It's hard to maintain a community like that as you get really, really, really large. And that is a priority for us. Um, just I think like the state that Bland is right now and the community that it's in is just like so prime for anyone who wants to learn about AI phone agents or about, building businesses on top of this kind of stuff. So,
Where's Blend going to be in a year? Wrapping up.
Isaiah, go ahead.
I think that people will be astounded by how quickly we're about to grow. I mean, I have to believe that, right? Like that's part of my job. But truthfully, we're starting to see at real scale delivering excellent experiences, and we're starting to understand what that playbook looks like, and we're building our brand really strong. I think in a year, we're going to be a household name that is associated, hopefully, with excellent experiences for some of the world's biggest companies. And like you will see people will talk about a Bland experience, and they're going to say like, why does Best Buy not have a Bland bot set up? Why am I waiting on hold? Why am I talking to this IVR? This person is so unhelpful. And like when we see that level, like that's what we will see in a year is people are going to demand like, where is my Bland bot? Like, why am I not talking to Bland? Like this sucks. And they're not going to just say that about IVR, about humans, about waiting on hold. They're going to say it about other AIs too, because we're going to focus and figure out so clearly how to make sure that every call that is delivered is a great experience from the AI side. Like the truth is like things are going to break and people are going to have bad experiences no matter what we do. Because if you just got dumped, if somebody died, if you got into a car accident, you're not going to be a happy camper when you call in. But what we can do is make sure that like we never deliver anything less than the best experience for that situation.
What would you say to people on the fence about using AI bots, voice bots?
I think that right now, I would say is like it's 2002 and you're saying I'm not sure about this internet thing. Like it will be in your vending machine, it will be in your fridge, it will be in everything you use. You will interact with AI day in and day out, and it will be ubiquitous and smooth and easy in a way that I don't think people realize yet. And they're like, "Oh, I don't buy these AI chatbots or this, that." It's like that is like literally being like, "I don't know about this Google or Yahoo thing. Like I don't know about this Amazon. Why would I ever shop online when I can go to the corner store?" Like that is like what I think people are saying. And it's exactly what you said is like, imagine grabbing somebody in 1995 and being like, do you think it'll pay off that you're learning these computer things? Like, will it matter? And like I think it's the same thing, honestly.
I mean, the really beautiful part of it too is like even if some people don't adopt it, like in terms of the like customers our customers can be like, oh, I don't know if I believe in this AI phone thing. Like we're gonna get to the point to where they don't really have to believe in it. They'll just interact with it and not know the difference, which is I think is that's like the goal that we're striving towards.
I think if people saw the other day we called in to this place, me, Saban, and our head of customer success, Keon, and we waited on hold and then it picked up. And like to understand the level of where this technology is going and what we've built out and like what we're seeing it roll out over the next few weeks and months, we are so gaslit into not being sure if it's a human or not we're talking to when we get on the phone now. And like literally, like we were staring at each other, listening to this person go, "Hello, sir, are you there?" And we're like, I muted myself. I go, that seemed like high latency. And Saban was like, no, that's a person. That's a person. Like, I don't know if that's a person. And like, it was a person. But like, we spend so much time, we forget about kind of the subpar AIs out there. But like, what we're seeing and what we're building is it's scary good.
I got two more questions. One last question. So what's the next what's the next big thing or the next sort of big update you guys are gonna roll out?
So we rolled out background noise, which we built really, really well, I think, in my opinion. It sounds super natural. It took a lot of time and effort to get that one right. The next big feature that's going to impact calls is we're doing some machine learning stuff that's really cool around double speak and double listening and back channeling. So what that means is like effectively predicting if the AI should actually talk twice based off of silences. So like times when like if somebody doesn't reply, it'll be like it'll jump back in, or predicting if you're likely based off of your speech patterns to speak a second time so that we don't interrupt you. And then also knowing where is appropriate in your speech to say, uh-huh. And all of that's actually tied together. And it's a prediction window based off of the start of the call that becomes a sliding window throughout the entire call. And it's mind blowing. Like it is so cool.
And this is why, sort of, I'm answering my own question here, I guess. This is why, if you're interested in doing this for your clients, if you want to sort of develop a skill and sort of make money out of it, jump on this now because all this shit is coming. It's
Right. Yeah.
easy, it's still easy now. So everything you learn now is going to be so much better in at lightning speed within the next 3, 6, 9, 12 months. And I don't say this because I believe you guys, I do believe you guys, but that's just sort of how this whole AI rocket ship is going.
Yeah.
And
I mean, we're spending millions of dollars to make this better. Like this is not, as much as I know we're young and like we get to have fun with you, is like we also have like a very serious set of engineers and people that are focused day in and day out that really care about solving this. Like we are a company for a reason. And like I think to your point is like hopping on this now because like this is where the money is going into and like this is where the passion is going into and we are going to make this ubiquitous like or we will die trying. And so being the last person on that train, you do not want to be the last person on that train.
well,
I
if you
really,
have to be
really,
the last one, be the last one, but don't, you have to be on that train.
I really quickly want to give another reason to it. And the one that I give like a lot of the machine learning engineers that I talk to that are interviewing with us or just like engineers in general, like if you go or look in academia, you look in any, you can look in industry, the field of voice AI is probably one of the least like mature AI fields right now. What we are working on, and I don't have a PhD, like I'm not a some crazy Stanford grad, right? Like
ADHD,
I'm sorry.
you get
Yes,
ADHD,
ADHD. Right, exactly.
no
Yes. Yeah,
PhD.
yeah, if that counts. But no, I mean like you like voice AI right now, it is so easy to work on what is cutting edge. Like it is so easy to work on what is cutting edge right now. And I think like if you're excited about working on the frontier or working on something that like being at the forefront of a young area of a business or of engineering, like why would you not join voice AI right now? And I think that applies to like actually building on top of these platforms as well, not just building them. So
Yeah, or leverage platforms, leverage the platforms, and a platform is Blend to sort of build a skill set that you're able to leverage to offer services to clients. Whether
right.
you're already an agency or you're a freelancer that's doing stuff that is looking for some new stuff to jump on that AI train that as I just said, I think you guys have the perfect segue into that train. Yeah, I love it. So, but I think people need to listen, figure this out for themselves. Where is the best way to go to listen to a demo? Is that the one on the website?
Yeah, go to www.bland.ai or bland.com. We are the proud owners of bland.com. And then you can call yourself right then and there. You can also download our mobile app, Bland AI, or you can even just sign up straight at app.bland.ai. It's fully open and free to start with. We don't charge anything to get started. And we want people to go use it and give us feedback. Tell us what's wrong.
Yeah. Join the Discord.
I
Seriously.
joined the Discord. Simon is giving free credits. Talking about free credits, what's the pricing model?
Yeah, so for self-serve users, people that just sign up, it's 9 cents per minute. But for enterprises, we have a lower per minute rate. And then for really large enterprises or large scale customers, we do also concurrency pricing, where you can actually just pay off of the total number of calls happening at one moment. Why that's special is like if you have a business that's doing a ton of volume, that in terms of minutes, you can actually turn that into a flat line item with us.
Yeah. So no sort of subscription fees. Let's say for self-service clients, no subscription fees. You just sort of you pay for the phone number. I think it's $10, 10 or $15, whatever. Or you can bring your own Twilio, and you pay 9 cents a minute. So yeah, I mean, low barrier to entry.
Yeah. Why would you not?
Yeah, Great question. Guys, is there anything that I didn't ask what I should have asked? Anything you want to share? Wanted to share?
Oh, why part of why Bland is special? We self-host everything. I don't know if we mentioned that. We
No,
didn't get
that's a
started
great
out a
point.
little.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're not leveraging OpenAI or ChatGPT or whatnot. There's nothing out there. It's all, yeah, that's a great point, actually. That is actually a great point. So it's not built on top of a different whatever. It's not built on top of Lee's ground.
It wouldn't be as much of an engineering challenge. Like, like we did
But
not go the lengths that we, I mean, it's, yeah, I think enterprise is
what
fine.
it's also meant though on the long run is like our stability has improved dramatically over the past few months and will probably be continuing to improve, but we're not tied to anybody else to drive improvements. We can actually incrementally improve ourselves.
So what's your take then on OpenAI doing the speech thing as well, relaunching the whole sort of text to speech, the speech as well?
If the voice part was hard and the latency was just the issue, we would be $100 billion company. I think it's good for everybody. Like it improves the market. I think it's
Yep.
fundamentally a consumer tool right now.
Yep.
I think that it opens a ton of doors and opportunities for a lot of people, but that like at the end of the day, the hard part isn't really getting the AI to talk back to you. The hard part is making it do the right things, the right points with the right actions and with the right experience. And that's not a set of APIs. That's a deeper understanding and a platform that drives better experiences. And like we'll put ourselves head to head any day of the week with voice mode, etc. And like we're comfortable with that. We're not a risk averse company.
So, but just sort of just that this is super clear. You build your own models. You build your own LLM, and you're
Yes.
building it out, and
Yeah.
sort of
I mean, we use a lot of open source tooling. Like we haven't raised $1 billion, so you can probably guess that we did not do a foundational model. But yeah, we focus a lot on like everything being self-hosted, making sure that we're not dependent on any third parties. We can guarantee on uptimes, on other things. And I think that like that matters a lot. And like then also, our founding team and everybody on the team, we're not Stanford kids, we're not PhD kids. We're ADHD, like you said, we're scrappy and like our founding engineer Reese, I love talking about him. He had like 6 months of professional experience before we hired him, and he worked at a Taco Bell and a factory, and he taught himself how to code. And like he's a huge driver, our DNA of like we're scrappy. We want to win. And like what we care about is like not just winning, but like people better like the thing that we make. Because otherwise, why are we doing this?
I'm nodding because this just resonates with how I've been working with you guys for the last 6 months. Just makes sense. Everything you just said is probably the reason why we sort of kicked it off as easy and relaxed as we did. So yes, I can only comment yes to that and keep that sort of keep doing that. Just sort of keep doing what you guys doing and sort of stay real and be yourself and stay scrappy, please. You guys are awesome.
Perfect.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Rucker. Appreciate
Thank
you
you
taking the
guys.
time to talk with us.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you so much and see you on the other side.
Have a good one.
Thanks, guys. Bye.